like anything that happens that goes on in this game specifically?
There are points where I just really kind of struggle to know what to do.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Is it
Mostly defense attack was just a wipeout.
right? Is it on second defense and third? Is that where things get a little
No,
tough?
it's just this is just one defense and then one attack.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll see here. Okay. I mean, already, like, what are your... Because generally, I don't think this is, like, that complicated comp-wise. I mean, what are you looking to do as a comp, not even just you, but as a comp into their comp?
Um, just don't let them walk up really for free anywhere.
Yeah,
Don't let the Doom take high ground. Don't let the top take angles.
right. I mean, again, you're playing against Doom Tracer. I mean, the Weaver doesn't really matter. Again, as long as you can... If that comp is actually pretty bad. Like, as long as you can effectively force out Doom and Tracer, there should be no concern. There's no, like, crazy utility you need to worry about. There's no crazy sustain. Yeah, like, again, as long as Doom and Tracer get forced out, I've got no real concern, and you can absorb their dive fairly easily. So we'll see how this pans out. Okay. 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 Crazy. So I was gonna zoom out here and just sort of like show that, like, you know, the very first initial here we go, right? So the very first initial engagement, right? Like Tracer actually blinked over to the right side. Doom goes into you, obviously. Why actually peek her in the first place when you see Doom and
Just
Tracer go
scouting.
outside? Like, so for zoning, right? Okay. Um, I think
More
that's
like scouting, I mean.
scouting,
Just
right?
to see what they have as well.
Right. Again, my concern here is if you leave these guys, you know, I'm sure, like, again, people have like Capitology, I've mentioned this many a time, but if you essentially leave them to stage their dive, your team will not live a good dive. Now, I don't know how your Ash is gonna. I don't know whether your Ash is gonna live or die this, or I don't know what's gonna happen here. I mean, I already see traces going onto onto your Ash, and if this Doomfist actually didn't go onto you and went into your Ash instead, I could see that as pretty problematic. So we'll see whether your Ash dies here or not. Again, if she doesn't, I would assume she gives up some kind of space. In fact, your Bastion's already on low ground here, so we'll see how your team handles space control. But how could you still scout this sort of narrow choke here, or still be able to, still, you know, being worried or still looking to force out the enemy Doomfist or Tracer and not actually commit yourself
Another
to
high ground,
um. Can I say that again? Sorry.
maybe. Play on the other high ground.
Um.
I don't know, really. Like
How
check the corner and then slash onto the other high ground.
Maybe. So I was thinking more so like you just wall climb here. So you just wall climb here to get a wider LOS, and then you can just see down the choke itself. So you already get skeleton information,
Oh, yeah.
and you're not giving yourself up in terms of like positioning. And then still, you're able to like leap, slash back, and then slash into the tracer. You're still able to, like, again, scout and look at the Doomfist, right? Like, you're still able to actively force out their flankers without having to jeopardize, okay, maybe there might be an honor here who you don't scout in another game that, again, you kind of need to eat the nade for. So that's kind of my main concern, because again, their backline's not a concern. Like, who cares about Kiri Weaver? There's no utility you need to care about. So we'll see what happens here. So yeah, their Doom goes on your... Their Doom goes on you, basically goes on your Ash. Your Ash seems completely fine, so you actually get kind of lucky for this. But again, I'm just looking at the opportunity cost here, essentially, with what you're doing. Because again, I'm concerned more about their Doom and Tracer than I am about their Weaver, who seems to be like they're going on right now. Which we'll see here. So what do you do after you get punched? Yay. Yay. Zone of Torbjorn, Trial and Weaver. So this I don't hate as much because, in fairness, Doom and Tracer are already out when you're doing this. So when Doom drops the low grounds, like around here, he goes into you, drops the low grounds, and then my only concern here, do you actually look at? Yeah, so what should you do before you do this?
Check what your team's doing, or
Yeah, or like on those lines, right? What specifically in this comp, or in this situation, what do you need to be specifically checking? before you look to rotate like
If
this.
you're actually getting dived.
Right, exactly, right? Like, if you're actually completely fine and Tracer's got no recall, then I'm perfectly okay with you doing this, right? Like, in fact, you should be doing this. I'm not just okay with it, you should be doing this. And it seems right now, your Ash is okay. I mean, again, I would look at your Ash before doing this. I would fire a few shots towards Tracer, just force recall, and then you can either hunt the Tracer down, or again, you can leap and then do what you're doing right now, and that's completely reasonable. So I've got no real crazy complaints here. Again, it happens to be fine. I remember a Samoa game where you were going onto the Ana and just happened to be fine. This again, the situation happens to be fine going on backline here. But yeah, like that backline check is really, really important. But yeah. I think beforehand as well, I think there were cases where I've mentioned, hey, like if you can go past the enemy Doom Tracer backline, then you can, right? Because again, they're relatively far away. It's a bit different with Doom Tracer, because Doom's got, like, he can literally just slam immediately up to your Ash and one-shot your Ash immediately, because he's got the mobility to do so, and he's got the burst damage to do so, and Tracer's also got the burst to be able to do that as well. Against something like Hanzo Genji, Echo as well, to a lesser extent, or even to a greater extent, because Echo's got less burst mobility than those characters, then I think that's fine to go immediately onto backline. And also, again, if you want to go on backline as usual, again, scouting, just wall climb, that's all fine, so you can scout and see what's going on. But yeah, so it's two cases where a little bit of efficiency with like how you're scouting your information, as well as again making sure that your back is completely fine, will do a lot of service to you here. But yeah, okay. Okay, that's fine. Let me see that again. Actually, slow down. Okay. Okay. So Torb was already strafing back into this room, and he wasn't really a major threat. So I'm essentially questioning whether this wall itself was completely necessary. In that, what's the purpose of you being here right now?
Purpose? I thought that Life was gonna try and double jump back into there.
Right. Okay. Interesting. What gives you that information? So you see, yeah, third person, you see Weaver. Okay, maybe. I guess the point, I guess, I want to see here. I mean, I think this wall itself is kind of multi-purpose in that, A, you're zoning off the Torbjorn, and that's kind of my big concern with it, is that you don't need this wall to be able to mark the Torb. But also, this wall's a trigger for you to go into Life Reaver. I just don't quite see, again, why the Weaver would necessarily go in the first place. Again, maybe you're expecting that he's bad at the game, and then you just punish him off of that. Yeah, if I'm Weaver, I just play wide, and I just go to high ground here, regardless. How else could you have played this, now knowing that Weaver's not going into the room itself?
Not wall. Torb's just gonna back up into the room. Doesn't want to fight me.
Right. So you essentially you're doing the correct thing here. This is actually good wall climb micro. But just use your aura essentially as hazard to just mark this angle here on high grounds. So you can either bait the Torb to keep walking into you, i.e., let him walk and then wall him off when you see him actually push further and deep into your team, or you can just walk him to high ground and then go to the Weaver immediately. And then, hey, you've got a target to immediately go on. Weaver can't escape you if he's already used his petal to get to high grounds. So essentially zone out these angles here, play for triggers with your gun, and play for triggers with your positioning. I wouldn't, again, immediately commit CDs off of this, because Torb's not really a massive threat here. And again, this isn't a trigger to go onto him regardless. You could also just go into Torbjorn here, but again, you've already used your leap, so you can't do that, sadly. So yeah, a few things here basically. Just AFK, chillax, go high grounds, wait for your leap, and then that can be a trigger to actually hard engage onto either of these targets. But yeah. A little bit more patience though with zoning. Okay. Okay. Sure. Like, even if you got punched there, I think that's completely reasonable. Like, the Weaver was extremely close to you. You have multiple targets there. I'm completely reasonable with that. That's okay. Okay. Welcome micro's good. Okay. Wall's fine. Actually, wall's pretty good, actually. So this is a lot. Again, this is the exact wall I wanted to see about, the last time when you leaped over here, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, nice. Going crazy. Okay. I don't necessarily mind who you go on here. I mean, honestly, I'll probably go on Tracer, to be honest, by virtue of the fact that she's closer to you. I'll just go Tracer. I'll just go this room and then walk onto Tracer, or just slash onto Tracer and force him to the room. Either one's fine. Just because she's close to you, then a Doomfist is. So yeah. Okay. Okay, it's good. It is good that again you're actually looking around here. I mean, again, this is good that they actually are scouting around. Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Fine. Front to back Doomfists. Questionable wall.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, more might come to bite you back. Okay. Because like now I'm like looking around and Trace is still behind if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's still behind. Again, this is why you can't leave her uncontested, you know? And I'm looking at your comp here and I'm like, okay, what are the characters in your comp that can actually actively force out their flankers? Sometimes it can be Bastion, depending on the map geometry. Like I have seen Bastions grenade themselves to force out duels, but it's few and far between. Ashe, you're not coming in coachingggg to do that. It's really only you and maybe your Lucio. That's literally just it in this comp. Your Kiriko can't stray away too far as well. She's going to be in a similar case to your Ashe, unless she's got double T people or whatever the case may be. Like whoever you go on here, essentially, like you're the bulk of the prevention in your comp. So to see you again leave their Tracer alone, again, this is getting kind of scary right now. Where now we're seeing, hey, we actually haven't forced out Doomfist here. Our wall itself wasn't that good. Again, maybe if you're fronting back in Doomfist, actually, what actually? Let me go back to your POV.
No, please don't look at the wall.
Let me see here. Hold up. Yeah, still haven't used the wall yet. Right thing. So you leap onto him, fine. Okay. Maybe Kiri is doing damage to you, so I think that's fairly reasonable, but no wall is kind of the big thing here. And as well, like right now, if you really want just to wall this, you can even wall again right now on this sort of on this corner here, block damage coming from Kiriko and Doomfist, and then just slash over here and force out Tracer. I mean, you're actually even trying to do it right now. But the whole point here being is that I need some kind of proactive forcing out. Because again, if you guys AFK and stuck in a single place, it's not going to look good. Currently, it is not looking good. And just by virtue of the positioning here, I would expect your team to die on this next life cycle. Okay, I mean, not this next life cycle. You guys have already getting your CDs forced out here. Okay, let me just look at this wall here from your POV. Okay, yeah, I don't mind the wall. Not bad. Leap over's fine. Nice. Isolators. Fine. No concerns. Again, Doom's already been marked out. You're only really exchanging, or the opportunity cost is really early onto the Tracer, but again, I would say that's a mistake that's been made 10, 15, 20 seconds ago from the end of the last fight, rather than something else you could have done actively here. That's all reasonable. Sure. Fine. Fine. Nice wall to just stop the petal. Okay. 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 So if I had to guess what goes wrong here, I assume it's when ultimates start getting involved and that engage starts getting a little bit harder to absorb as when things get a little bit messy. But we'll see. Okay. 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 Sure. So like this entire time, right? So how do I phrase it here? How else could you have used your cooldowns better here? And like, what else do you need to be scouting for before the actual dive itself?
Where the Trace was going.
Yes, right. So you're lucky right now because I have no idea where the Trace is at. Like she's going. Yeah, don't tell me your Doom business. Yeah, so this is classic dive 101 era where the tank's doing something, DPS is not. I guarantee you right now, if this Tracer had been here pinching, your team would have died 10 seconds ago, or like literally by the second the Doomless engages. So you're very lucky right now. Doomless going in, inting in right now. Which, honestly, it's actually a pretty good thing. That again, this is why early pressure is so important, because again, you're forcing the Doomless to go in early here, rather than actually have a nice synced up dive with the Tracer. So yeah, we'll see again the actual cooldowns here that I'm looking to be using. Yeah, why not wall this off like you did last time?
I thought I could just slash him and then he would just punch the wall. Boost it boops him.
Yeah. I could see that realistically. I guess it's more so like a cost benefit thing in terms of like, hey, I can guarantee like the Doomfist doesn't punch
Yeah, with the
anyone.
wall.
Exactly, right? Like it's a guarantee, 100%. There's no way he's being able to do that. With the
Yeah, I
wall
would
here.
invest the wall for an empowered punch, but for normal punch,
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's
sure,
a bit
sure,
more like cost.
yeah. Did you have any cues that told you got empowered? Or,
He didn't have
yeah,
empowered
that's
punch.
fine. Yeah, for sure. Fine, sure. Wall on meteor strike. Let me see. I mean, if I'm being nitpicky here, it's more so like it's either how do I phrase it? I actually don't know the interaction between meteor strike and wall
If
itself.
you hit it on the middle, it like completely absorbs it.
And quickly absorbs it. Okay. Because here obviously like your team's getting suited, so it's like it's like using lamp and suited at the same time for the same ultimate
Yeah, I'm
cause.
like trying to practice the reaction time for it because it's kind of a bit of a short window trying to wall it.
Right. I also don't know how efficient it is using the wall for the meteor strike thing because if your team's not if your team's already not in the center of meteor strike, I don't think it's that big of a concern. And right now,
Yeah.
like we can forget Suzu right now, but the fact that your Bastion's already like he's not in the center at all. He's an ironclad, so he's got 20% damage reduction. He's gonna be completely fine. Lucer's gonna be fine. This person I think is gonna be fine. I think the wall is again not necessary, and again I would be rather
Yeah.
well, what would be a better wall here?
Wall in the corner.
Right? So like
Or like
walling
wall in the corridor behind.
exactly, right?
So the
So
tracer can't do anything.
exactly doing it right here. And had you been aware of the tracer coming around, this is the point that's coming full circle right now. Where hey, like I know tracer's coming around right now. I can just deny an entire character by walling the tracer off. Or again, you can deny the Doomfist entirely by walling him off. And that's kind of the point being made there. Even without empowered punch,
Yeah.
I guess the point here is like, hey, I just deny an entire character from engaging by a single ability, and that's kind of a worth it trade, regardless of whether he's
Yeah.
punching in or not. So yeah, that's kind of the efficiency with trades here is kind of what I'm looking for. So again, this isn't terrible. Like this isn't like you making a blunder. You have actually forced Doomers to go early here by the pressure you're putting out early. But yeah, my question is like more so. My concern is more so again how you could be bargaining for a lot more in terms of again this guy can't even go in with Meteor Strike from the get go. Had you walled in early, and this Tracer right now, where she at? She's about to go in right now. Like a good wall here. Like she's just AFK. So like this is scary. 1 HP.
Yeah.
Kills your Ash there, right? And it's like a good wall stops it from happening to even begin with. Rather than just walling Meteor Strike it. So it's a small thing. I say a small thing, right? But in theory it's a small thing because it's just a slight placement with your wall. But in reality, it's a completely mindset shift because again, you're looking at the tracer from beforehand, and again making sure that your team can't die to any of those characters here. Again, I think your prevention is actually decent. Again, you were front to backing Doomfist. You were trying to force him out. You forced out Empowered Punch or Empowered Block before he even got to you, and he was half HP before he even punched in. Now, that's all good stuff here. It's just a little bit wide of a mindset to mark out Tracer. But yeah, and that's with your wall, right? Lots with your wall there. How would you slash it?
What do you mean?
So like again, we talked about how you again using wall to block off Tracer here in terms of again absorbing the dive. How else? So that Tracer would be marked out entirely. How would you slash it against the enemy comp?
I if I wanted to mark the tracer, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to mark the enemy team, or if you wanted to live the dive more so, right? So again, if you wanted to live the dive, the wall would be used to mark Tracer. So if you wanted to live the dive,
Yeah.
how would you use your slash?
Turn around, look where the torb is, pretty much just where the torb is.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of a trick question in that I don't necessarily want you to be using slasher immediately, based on again the Doomfist and the Torbjorn. So you'd be looking around constantly. So you'd be shooting Doomfist, getting him out, and then you'd be probably looking to slash in afterwards. Because frankly, I don't expect you to make a very accurate choice between a tool peeking here and a Doomfist going in with Empowered Punch and Meteor Strike. Because clearly, Doom's more lethal in that sort of situation. Even though maybe Tool might be a little bit more killable, especially if you've got the leap perk. then to go on top that makes a little bit more sense. So I would just literally just shoot Doomfist there, save your leap, and then you can use leap to catch anyone essentially if they're low HP. I don't think leap is that amazing at forcing out or living dives. If it's unless it's getting you're slashing into a tracer, then that makes sense. But again, as you've kind of talked about, warding off the corridor here just prevents a dive going in entirely. And I think on this map specifically here as well, that becomes really effective because I actually don't know where else Tracer can go to if you wall this off. Like, if you wall this off and I'm coaching this Tracer, I actually don't know what else to say. Maybe just shoot the block or shoot the wall. Maybe just force point is all else you can do as Tracer. Like, it's really not efficient. I think the Mine is a really good case of this. King's Row is another good case of this because King's Row is really narrow. But yeah, like Tracer's really not great on this map. Oh yeah, Ilios, what's it called? Ilios Lighthouse is also a good case of this. Because Tracer's just on high grounds, and Tracer's obviously not good on high grounds. There are maps where this is like really effective, where Tracer's got a very limited pathing essentially based on the map geometry.
Yeah.
And this is one of those cases here. So next time on Nabani, a little bit more awareness on Tracer. And again, looking to anticipate essentially when she's going to go in and warding that off. But yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. Sure. Okay. We'll see a little bit here actually. Okay. Okay. So why? Okay, I think spikes are. I actually understand spikes. To be fair, I think again you. Okay, never mind. But the spikes here is completely. I get why. You see a trigger, June's out in open space, you look to play it for a trade. I think that makes complete sense. I guess my what's the only concern I have with spikes here? There's two concerns with spikes.
Lifeweaver's there, and I don't see a single
Right,
teammate.
the CD of Lifeweaver, which honestly is just experience, because I mean, it's only in the last month or so have we seen Lifeweaver being played, where players have just forgotten Lifeweaver exists. And then also the fact that you're 2 down. I.e., you need to be Juno's probably not going to be enough to win those fights. You probably need to get another trade here. That's really.
Lucio died the instant I pressed it. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough then, I suppose. But I guess the only triggers here are essentially positional. So, i.e., the Juno itself being in open space to get this kill. Again, grip is a cooldown is what I'll call. But yeah. Okay. Even more of a mistake there by Yokiri, to be honest. Because yeah, like now you've got no triggers. Like now it's just officially over. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sure. Right. And actually, I want to go back here a little bit because your leap into the Torbjorn is interesting, we'll say. So you get punched up for 5 rounds. Okay, sure. And now, like, what are your options here as Hazard? Like, what can you go on?
I guess maybe try to go back to the high ground I was on, maybe, but then I'm just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, so it's not
Go to
immediately
the
obvious,
objective.
right? So, of course, the only immediate target you can see right now is Torbjorn, which obviously makes sense. It's the only target that you can actually see here. And this might change depending on perks, right? So maybe if you got extra leap distance, then maybe reaching Torbjorn makes a bit more sense. But at least here, how do I say it? I would at least play for options here. Like again, if you, I'm trying to phrase it in a certain way. Because right now in the actual game itself, like I want to make sure that I phrase it in a way that's like you've still got it, like this is still doable in the actual game itself. Like it's not hindsight. To be able to do this immediately. We'll say, and again, I think this comes down to Tracer really, because like, again, she's not forced out, and we'll say this right. What do you think the likelihood that your team lives here is, considering Tracer's not been forced out?
Say that again.
What do you think the likelihood that your team lives this dive actually is, considering Tracer has not been forced out?
Very low.
Very low, right? So if Ash dies here, what do you need to be playing for?
Probably ultimates. Only way to flip a 5.
Yeah, so why ultimates? So it's linked onto that idea, right? But why ultimates?
Because if they had a good dive, that means they have good positioning now. They've also been forced out.
Right. So yeah,
And it's kind of the only way you can overwhelm them, I guess.
so yeah, what's the why are ultimates the So yeah, how do I phrase this? So 4v5, right? Because your Ash dies, or like, and you've lost space control essentially. So you're down multiple advantages. So you're down positional because you've lost space. You're on low grounds. Tracer's still right side. She's not been forced out yet, and Doom also hasn't been forced out really. And Torb is still in front of you. So right now,
You
even though
can
you
get
can't,
space back using ults.
right, to get space back, because the only way you're gonna win this fight essentially here is to look for some kind of trade or to fight for space control back. So I guess the main reason here why I want you to go back to high ground here is it just gives you a better option to look for trades. Either because Doom's really low, or you can start threatening backline a lot more. Whereas you immediately, and you can even play the corner here essentially to do the exact same thing. So I would either play corner here or I would play high grounds. Again, the reason why high ground's a little bit better is that again it gives you more scouting information. You can actually visually see by wall climbing up here, looking down into the alleyway where the supports are. Whereas here you just can't see anything. You can peek here a little bit, so it's relatively fine. But here I'll be looking to play for trades. And now, even though top is the only thing you can see on your screen, again, just by having object permanence, you should be able to tell roughly that, hey, Tracer's to my right, I can't force up Tracer because she's too far away. I actually don't know exactly where she's at as well. Doom, again, he's too high HP, I probably can't force him out. I need to play for trades. It's the only way you can sort of win this fight. And again, I guess the way to do that is, again, try and threaten the space here again. Or again, look to go past the Doom and look to play for trades onto backline. It's really the only thing I'd say here. So even though you can't see the backline here in the actual game, I think it's reasonable to expect that, again, the backline's going to be playing to the left, and you're getting surrounded by 3 different angles. And if you don't do something here, you're going to lose the fights. So, yeah, the point here being is that with that information, i.e. the fact that you're slowly losing these fights, you need to go for backline. And you should, I think it's reasonable to expect in the game itself as well, that, you know what, backline's in fact going to be playing left side here as well. And actually, again, had you wall climbed here, and then you can engage with this left side, you spike both the Weaver and the Juno, or again, you play here, you wall climb upwards, you force these guys to dash away or move away, you spike afterwards, and you play for trades. Is really the only thing I can say here. Because Torb is just too far away to go for this engagement. And you can see that because you don't actually go on Torbjorn. You're blocking here, and you're still too far away. Which plays against the fact that you're looking for trades here, right? Because again, you're too far away. But yeah. Okay. Some slight rotation stuff there. In short, just a very long-winded explanation, or a very long-winded explanation to go high ground here. Or to again play this corner and play for trades essentially. But yeah. Okay. Alright. See here. Okay. Sure. So, as long as you can hold this corner, I'm praying that you can actually hold this corner on second, because this corner is really, really broken on Hazard. But we'll see. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. So, we'll see here in a moment here while you go on Tracer. Which I think is fair, because she just blows around you. So I think at micro, I'm not gonna cry too much micro-wise. Again, if I'm being nitpicky again, I would rather you leap here rather than here, because if you leap here, she's more likely to blink out and get forced out. Whereas here, to the right side, she's gonna blink out even deep into your team. There's a slight micro thing, but nothing crazy. My main complaint is you look backwards, which is good. What should your mentality be here, right in this exact frame right now?
Maybe not go in.
Right, why is not going in?
I'm down splash.
Right, so
they're kind of stacked down main. Gonna take 1,000 damage.
yeah, right. So I'm really looking to see if you can actually hold the space here. Again, I doubt that. Again, you guys should be able to do it. But my point here being is, I would either hold this track here, look around, and try and force out Tracer even more, or I mean that's really it, to be honest, right? Or don't go and Tracer in the first place. Just play this sort of corner here, and then threaten backline trades, which is not also ideal because again you want to actually force out Tracer, which makes sense. You want to actively force them out. So I've got no real I guess concerns or complaints with you going to the truck here in the first place, or the car. It's just more so, again, your only trigger to go for Juno is the fact that she's wallable, or the fact that she's an open spacer. Do you even go to Juno with Slash? You haven't even got Slash. Oh, rough. Yeah. If you're Slashy, I think that's a different discussion, because the wall is good itself, but you haven't got Slash, so you haven't got the cooldown to be able to follow up on the Juno. You get punched in even more. You forced out. And what do you Slash do? I don't even hate what you Slash do. I think this is fine. Sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. I mean, my only thing is, I really wanted you to be able to hold here in the first place. Again, I saw why you couldn't. But in team play, you'll see Dooms hold it all the time. Or Dooms, not just Dooms, sorry, Hazards hold it all the time. Winston's will hold it all the time. And then they'll set, like, again, a hit scan to play this sort of corner here. So it's really hard for the Tracer of anyone to actually try and walk up here to the left side initially. But I think in that situation where your team was already down, I think it's fine to, again, force out Tracer. So I'm not going to complain about that too much. I also don't know how reasonable it is to expect you to Slash and past here and try and go left side. But again, I think the main mistake is going onto Juno when you've got no leap. Again, it's just simple hazard mix, hazard trigger stuff there. Okay, we'll see here. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Sure. So, like, why... It's a small thing, but why not go high ground here? Like, why not leap to the top left?
I don't know what.
Right, why might...
It's just better to go up there.
Right,
in
why?
In case they're playing up there, then you can force them out easier.
Exactly, so it just so happens by virtue that Doom Tracer are in front of you when you get to high grounds. But again, if I'm the Tracer, I don't exactly... Again, I might be playing over here. Like, I might just AFK over here. I might just AFK in the top high ground. Like, I could just AFK behind the enemy team here and just set up for my next dive. So yeah, again, you're fairly lucky just by virtue that, again, they're not doing that. And they're kind of stuck on call right now. But yeah. Okay. Fine so far. Sure. Sure. Okay. Now, why... This is all fine, right? But I think it's important to understand why. So why is going on Torbeer fine? Is there an opportunity cost to going on Torbeer?
I can hit him with the Slash.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. I mean, that's one part of it, right? You can actually engage onto him, with the actual Slash itself. That's one part of it. But also it's more so like their Tracer isn't gonna get unpunished by you doing this. Their Tracer's in fucking Narnia. There's zero possible way that when you go on Torbeer, their Tracer's going to be doing something on your backline. There's zero possible way. And the same applies with their Doomfist too. So I'm more than reasonable with you going on Torbeer. You've got a clear trigger. He's close to you. You've got CDs. Yeah, this is all fine. I've got no complaints. The wall itself though, we'll see. You will see. So the Slash itself does the work for you. So you haven't actually got the wall here because he's already moving off the high ground. So that's my only complaint with the wall itself, is that it's unnecessary based on your Slash.
Yeah.
But barring that, again, and then here's where you want a wall here, which again is a bit unfortunate. So again, a little bit more patience with, again, how you're using your cooldowns here, as we've seen throughout the entire VOD generally. Again with the wall onto the Doomfist. Meteor Strike. But yeah, so far I'm okay with this. In fact, you don't even need to get the kill into the Torbjorn. Just force him out, and you got overload forced out. So that's all reasonable. And this is exactly what you want if you're, again, if I'm zooming out here. Like the fact that again, you've shot 2 shots into Tracer, forced out half HP, no overload. This guy's lost map control. Like, this is great so far. I'm more than happy with this. And so far, your team seem to agree with pushing the Bob here early. So far, so good. Okay. What's... How do I... So the Slasher isn't bad. Slasher isn't bad. how do I phrase it here? What are your options for Slash?
I could go high ground. Like, I
Yeah.
could go to the high ground above Bob, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking that actually. Yeah, you could, right? So maybe you can leap over here, and then you can just you have a maximum information available to you in terms of again who you want
Yeah,
to
that'd
go
be
on.
good.
That would actually be really good. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking that necessarily. This would be quite good. And you don't see many players. I forgot this even existed. I'm not gonna lie. But that's actually a really good place to go to. Again, I think that the purpose here or the mindset that I'm currently in is like, how can we keep pressure on their front line even more? How can I force up their Doomfist even more? Because what I don't want happening here is 10 seconds from now, Bob goes away, and Tracer is still in your backline. Tracer's still in your team over here. She's actually flanked around to the right side. Doomfist has Empowered Punch, and he's de-peaked the enemy Bob here. Like, I want you to put the pressure on the backline even more. I don't want you to just slash into the first thing that you see. So that's kind of my main one or concern here is you've got the advantage, just push it as hard as you can, and don't let that Tracer stage. I think if I zoom out, it might be more useful. It's just okay. Tracer's already going on your backline here, which honestly I don't really care about because you already forced out early, and it's going to be hard for it to do anything here when Doom's not going to be going in. But yeah. Okay, look at your POV here. Actually, here. How you use the cooldowns. Okay. Okay. Oh, you could have. That was actually a great wall climb. Oh, you could have. Oh, so close. How close were you to getting to? I reckon you could have made it. Honestly, I reckon you could have made it.
Yeah.
For sure. Why do you actually not go here?
To be honest, I don't think I knew it existed at the time, so...
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because to me, this looks like a fairly standard soft engage. I.e., you go into live Ether to keep more pressure on, force tree out. You realize that hey, the Weaver's not killable, and then you just decide to soft engage. And again, I think I've talked to you about this beforehand in terms of you can decide whether the slash is a soft or hard engage based on the fight itself, right? So you slash. You don't even know if you want to go in here necessarily. You don't even know whether you want to keep going in here. Clearly, you force tree, so the answer is probably not. In which case, again, going here makes a lot more sense. This would be amazing, to be honest, because if I'm their Doomfist right now, if I'm their Doomfist and I see a Hazard going top left here, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be scary in terms of, again, we're gonna be treading backlines here, essentially, if I go on their backline. Which, honestly, if I'm Doomfist here, I don't want to do necessarily, because you should be able to more easily trade onto a Juno Weaver than a Doomfist is able to be able to trade onto a Lucio Kiriko. So I'm okay with you again being here and then threatening the trader essentially. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. All force. Okay. Okay, and then yeah, it's very simple staging here. Like again, it's just a very similar case to what we saw again at the beginning of the second point, where you keep bargaining for more than what you can get. In terms of you keep going in when you shouldn't, because you've got no slash. And here you keep going in more than you should because there's a tree going on that you just kind of ignore. And you had the opportunity to go right side there, which is really unfortunate. So I guess that comes down to a map geometry map geometry diff there. But hopefully next time you go on Numbani, again you're more easily able to soft engage and play the high ground a little bit better. But yeah,
Will the Tracers stand on that high ground?
Yeah, that would have been really nice. Yeah. But yeah, even there, yeah, right. Even with the wall itself, right. You actually kind of wall yourself upwards, right? But you can even you use your wall yourself upwards. You can still climb up. You can still get an escape here, anyways, right? There's all kinds of micro you can do here. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Look at next fight. You get a next fight on this point. Honestly, you might, because they did not get much payload progress. Okay. Okay, sure, nice. At the wall. Okay. Sure, you need to touch here, so I'm okay with this, to be honest. Sure. Sure. I don't really touch that anyways. I mean, I appreciate the beat from your Lucid to try and touch, but you know, it's what it is. It's fine. Sure. So third point, to be honest, should be the easiest point out of all of these. Again, the fact that the rooms are they're really tight and enclosed, it should make denying the staging a lot easier. So we'll see how this pans out. Sure, nice, sure. I'm not gonna cry too much about Michael with your wall there. I'm okay with that engagement. Doom's already out. Okay. So what should you What should your mindset here be after Doom's dead?
Do not let this Tracer stage and just keep up the pressure.
Yeah, that's simple,
That's the
right?
right
So, I personally would go over here instead. Again, to deny Tracer from taking the side to angle to the right side. But barring that, I've got no real complaints. And again, just by virtue, it just seems that she's on logo here anyways. But yeah. Okay, sure, good, nice. If only had you done that first point on Navani. But yeah. Okay. Holding this close, I mean, this is fine if you're baiting, so it's fine to burn time to do this. I've got no complaints doing this, really. Let's look at what your team's playing. Fine. Sure. My punch. Sure. Okay. Go back in a little bit, so actually. I honestly reckon you can stay here. Okay.
I'm scared of the empowered punch.
Yeah. I guess my question here is like, you can stay here is kind of the point where you can actually I get why you ignore the Tracer, because you can't force her out here. She's too far away. She can blink her out of your slash, like she's just too far away. But I guess the main point here is like, I can actually stay here and threaten backline trades by again playing in this room. And again, like what do they do about me? You know, like they can't do anything if I'm in this room here. If I'm in this room here, they need to come and force me out. And again, as I've mentioned many a time with you previously, it's dangerous for them to force you out here, right? If you're holding here, one of the ways they can force you out is by walking here. But this is dangerous because it's out in open space. So then they're forced to play up these stairs here, which is really long and laborious. In which case, that's fine, right? If you play here and they decide to force you out by, or when I say they, I mean Torbjorn, Moira, and Weaver, they decide to walk up to these stairs and force you out, what do you do?
Ult.
Ult.
Or just leave the room.
Yeah, just leave the room, right? I wouldn't ult here because you're going in 1v5, and the whole point of this is that you're just baiting them. You're wasting time burning clock. You're just baiting their engager essentially. And that's actually really good that you're again forcing them to walk up here, because then that means their frontline are alone, right? And that means it's easier to force out their frontline. So you're kind of seeing how again the whole point of being here is to make it more difficult for them to stage, and this is all linking back to the whole mindset thing. About again making sure that Doomfist Tracer can't stage her very easily. Moira to some extent too, because they're running Moira now. Moira basically functions as a her own flanker. But yeah, Moira is a good one to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on out too. But yeah. Yeah. I think it's that mindset that causes you to not walk here in the first place, and now you're the one who gets forced out here quite early. So it's not a blunder, it's not a mistake, it's not like it is a mistake, but it's not nothing crazy. But yeah, would have been nice to see you try and hold that. Spikes. Oh, we'll see here. Are these spikes good or bad, and explain why?
I think they were good actually, because it just messed up their whole dive cycle.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Doom wants to go in and it just splits everything.
I think a nice way to think about this is there an opportunity cost with you spiking this? And I don't think there is, right? I think I doubt Tracer's doing anything right now. I think she's busy staging. Yeah, she's not doing much right now. Doom's not doing much right now. Yeah, these spikes are great, right? These are preventative spikes. They're preventing or disrupting their dive before they even go in. So I like these spikes essentially for that exact reason. Yeah, I've got no complaints. Again, I think thinking in terms of opportunity cost is also again fairly useful, because again, had Tracer been on your backline, I'd be like, yeah, these could be good spikes. But again, I'd rather you force out their Tracer Doomfist first before going on backline. But again, Tracer's not doing much right now. Neither is their Doomfist, to be honest. Okay, nice. Sure, nice. Big juicy slash there. Nice. Okay. Okay. Alright, high ground, nice. Okay, sure. Nothing crazy. Let me see here against W. Did he dash? Oh, hold up. Yeah, he did, but you haven't got a leap. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fair, I suppose. Door. Yeah, my main issue, the wall's fine. My main concern is, again, the fact that you're walling off Torbjorn now. You don't need to do that, right? Because Torb's got two options.
Try to wall him in. There's a 50. It was almost like a 50-50 chance that he was gonna get pushed in or pushed out.
Right. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, how do I say it? If he peeks you, I mean, it's between a rock and a hard place, because if he doesn't peek you, you can stay on the high ground, but if he does peek you, you wall him in. And again, I think that the dilemma with the Torbjorn there is, like, I don't really want to commit myself to forcing out Hazard. And if anything, you can just peek her a little bit more. You know, you can play the micro well. I guess it's nothing crazy that you can outplay it. Again, you don't necessarily need wall to get or to deny the Torbjorn. It's very similar to again the first fight in Barney. But yeah. Well, that's fine. Again, it's like it's not on opportunity cost. The Doom's the only one going in here, so I'm more than fine with you doing this. Slash there, I guess it's reasonable. I can see why you're doing it. Go over here. It's fine, sure. Oh yeah, so maybe we'll see here. Yeah, why did you leap here so close?
I think I tried to hit the Doomfist, but I just went a bit too far.
I don't think it's necessary to use leap here. Again, I think the point of the slasher is either to try and get slash into Tracer when she goes in, but right now I don't see where Tracer's at right now. I think she's going in. And she's not here right now. I think she's trying to flank her on the right side. Yeah, she's trying to go onto your backline right now. Which is whatever. I don't think there's something you could have done about Tracer staging there, to be honest. I think she just outplays you and goes too wide. I think that's fairly reasonable. But against Doomfist, at least, I would at least firm the punch. Or at least, again, use safe slash for the Tracer itself. So again, it's an opportunity cost, where, hey, slash is being used, but it could have been used against Tracer. Okay. And again, the opportunity cost of you slashing there is, again, you can't firm the punch against your Cassidy. So a bit unfortunate there. Okay. If your entire team is stacked in one big room, which is not ideal, if you want to lift you or dive. So yeah. Okay. Now you're looking for trades? Yeah, okay. I would rather just stay high ground here, honestly. Stay high ground here. Yeah, just stay, like, is anything causing you to leave high ground here?
I just wanted to look for a trade.
I mean, if you,
Nothing else.
how could you look for a trade if you wanted to play the swim still?
I could have jumped. Yeah, I could have jumped from the other high ground.
Right, literally just look at the other high ground here, you know. And hell, I don't even think you need to be trading this. Again, there's not a single person on the enemy team who can out-brawl you in this sort of enclosed space, or who won't start out-brawl you in this enclosed space, right? The only way they're gonna do that is five man clear you. In which case, you're also okay with that, because again that burns time of the clock. That wastes resources for them. It makes it harder for them to actually stage the next dive, because they're all spending time forcing you out instead of staging for their dive, right? So it's completely fine for you to play the swim. Like, it's completely reasonable. I wouldn't be, and there's no reason to leave it, essentially. Now it's again a little bit too late to look for a trade. I want all that fucking pale almost safety there, actually. Okay, sure. Okay. Investing tree. What do you need to do before you slash into Doom?
Check what the Tracer is.
Yes, right. So right now you're taking little pellet shots, right? So I don't know whether it's reasonable to look at to go on Tracer. I don't know whether it's, again, I don't know if it's reasonable or not, but that's because you're not looking at Tracer, right? So right now, give a quick glance, and actually, I wouldn't even mind if you slash into Tracer. I wouldn't even mind. You force it to blink, force it to play this enclosed space, right? I think again the slash is just a lot more, again, value for money essentially against a low HP character like Tracer. So look at Tracer, fine. before you go into Doomfist. Okay. Okay. Like look at your passion's taking it. He's just taking it. He's firming it. Like he's just absolutely right. Like he almost dies there as a result. Thankfully your Kyogo peels for it still. But yeah. Okay. So here. And again, I think there could be some sort of discussion in terms of the micro here, in terms of how we use our abilities. So again, had you been a little bit more attentive to Tracer, how could you do your abilities here such that you can still force out Doomfist, but also force out Tracer at the same time?
I could literally just shoot the Tracer twice, then go back to the Doomfist.
Yeah, I mean that's a very simple way of doing it. How might you want to use your wall here, if at all?
I don't really think I need to use it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a true question
To
essentially.
wall.
Yeah, it's less obvious than first point and Barney, where Tracer's got one corridor to walk through. I think the only sort of case here maybe is walk behind you and then wall this corridor off, so your bashing is completely fine, and then you can just force out Tracer and force her out by shooting her, because she's only got one option to essentially move. Essentially, she can't go into playing this room here essentially. But yeah, like I think walling is maybe your really only option, but yeah, I think that's fine. Shoot Tracer, force her out, nothing crazy. But yeah. Okay. Okay. Alright, just there. It's fine. Okay. You can take those skills. Stop busting there, I like that. Okay. Now we play the game of again, how can we deny their staging? Okay, we're going Nelly with High Noon, sure. Sure. Okay, where's the Tracer? On heights, yeah. So I kind of expected this, to be honest. Again, we'll see whether this is big opportunity cost here, we'll see. Nice wall. Cass ends up winning the duel, sure. Leap's good, fine. Okay. Sure. Fine. Nice wall, nice. Okay, nothing crazy. The only thing I would have said here is, again, play here instead of playing down this corner. Why is playing a little bit better than playing down here?
I wanted to clear you out on high ground.
Yes, hold it to clear you out. What are the reason?
They might want to actually be going high ground.
Yeah, right. What was going on the high ground here? What was going on here?
Tracer is.
Right, so yeah, there's still going on here between your cast and the Tracer, right? So you can hedge your bets, right? So you can stay here, help out your cast win the Tracer duel, but also you're still able to force out Doomvista and threaten the backline. And also you're harder to clear. So all those reasons there, just go top left. Okay. Okay. I think if there's like some case or scenario where Tracer plays super wide and decides, you know what, I want to play this room here instead, and actually I want to flank coast side, then I think playing here makes a bit more sense, because you're still hard to clear here, but again, you're hedging your bets. You're giving yourself the option to be able to force out Doomfist and deny staging, while also giving yourself the option to deny Tracer staging right side here as well. It just depends, again, the scouting in terms of, again, knowing where Tracer's coming from. So I'll start here initially, because it's more likely that Tracer's going to be here, again, especially with your Cassie's playing. So I'll just play here because your Cassie's here, and then again, if you see Tracers going right side, then I think it's fun to drop down, and you can use Slash if you want to here, but I think it's fun to drop down and then just sort of play sort of right side here. You can use Leap here for this as well. Again, it's still hard to force you out. So yeah, that's kind of my perspective there in terms of, again, forcing out and hedging your bets between both the Doom and the Tracer. Okay. Everything else you do here, though, I'm completely fine with. Okay. Actually, even nicely. Nice. Clean up here, essentially. Nice. Okay. Fine. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay. You see Tracer go top left. Fine. Nice, good wall. Really good wall. Spike forced. Fine. 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 The spikes. Oh, you get punched into the orb cube, and that's really unfortunate. So far that was actually looking fairly decent there. I think there's one complaint that I might have, which is right about here. Do you need to leave high grounds?
No.
Why not? Why
Because I'm
shouldn't you leave
literally
high
just
grounds?
jumping into the enemy.
Right, you're literally
Also,
jumping
those
into them,
Tracer
right?
shooting me,
Right, exactly. So again, it's like
so I need to clear them out.
exactly, you know, like it's not just for your own safety, but it's also for your effectiveness here too. Where hey, you actually avoid the Kum entirely. How you just build on high ground to begin with, right? So that's another benefit, right? But the purpose here is again the Tracer, and so far we've seen this entire VOD that you've kind of forgotten that she exists. And again, we've seen that your team paid the price for it. We saw your Ashe dying first fight. We saw and you're kind of relying on your cast to win the duel, essentially. And again, that's not a reliable thing to rely upon, especially in ranked. Once again here, you deny Tracer staging, you force her out even more, and you deny it again. You avoid the top Kum here entirely. So yeah, really unfortunate that you drop off high ground here. Why do you drop off high grounds?
Maybe I just want to take the Doom Punch.
Yeah, I can see that. Just farm the Doom Punch. Again, it's more so like a. Again, I think the best way to think about it is the opportunity cost in terms of again, hey, you can take this empowered punch here, but you get really low. You would give Tracer all the staging in the world, and you kind of give them what they want. Essentially, you give them all the space control in the world. And the opportunity cost is quite big because you lose the opportunity to hold the high grounds, and you lose the opportunity to keep forcing out Tracer. That's kind of how I would sort of position it here. And you also lose the opportunity to get good spikes because you can still threaten backline here had you been high grounds. So that's kind of how I would phrase this. Think about it. Okay. And then because of that, you get punched and then die there. So one small thing there from just dropping off high grounds. Okay. And that's probably going to be cap. Probably. Maybe not, actually. Okay. Fighting this off. Nice. Take a micro. Yeah, nothing crazy. Okay. That's not a big time. Okay. We'll do a quick summary here. Okay. So we'll say, like, first thing is, I mean, greater proactive mindset. And, this VOD specifically, it was the Tracer. Preventing Tracer. Which leads into a few things. So not giving up space easily, which we literally just saw last fights. Hedging your bets in terms of being able to force out Tracer / Doom. And to give some examples, again, the second point in high grounds. Right. That's just third point in high ground in general. And then we can talk about micro here afterwards. That's the general mindset, and again, making sure that again you're able to both prevent the Tracer and Doom Fist where possible, and you always know where they currently are. And again, second and third point are useful proxies for that as well. Second idea here is wall micro in accordance to absorbing or preventing dives. So again, Tracer, first point defense, or Doom Punch. General. If you're playing against Ana, I'll say this as well. Of course, nades be key to block zone. And then what else here? Also, again, the fine, or recognizing triggers, recognizing triggers. How to say this? I'll say it's not being overzealous, not being overzealous with soft engages, which honestly could be its own point entirely. Because we did see like how you went onto Juno, start second point defense, went on Juno, without slash, and that caused you to die really early. And what else? There was one other case that I don't quite remember specifically. Oh yeah, Torbjorn.
A life with a tree.
And life, yeah, life of a tree as well. Life of a tree. Where again you can just soft engage, and it links into the first idea in terms of again you can hedge your bet still, while again also making sure you're hard to clear, and that's gonna lead us to the final point there, which is just being generally really hard to clear. You saw this again, starts of third point defense. Saw this again throughout second, and what's to that as well, making sure that again, like ensuring that if they, i.e. the backline, force you out, that front line is left alone. So they're essentially easier to force out. Again, we saw that more so at the beginning of start third point defense. And actually, I think a good part of your gameplay was going in really early, like before the Tracer even could do anything. Again, I think we did that pretty well with spikes. I think keep doing that because those were pretty good. And it's really good to do it against ultimates as well. Like if they've got EMP, or Blade or Nanoblade, going in before the Genji can even stage for that is actually really important. Because then you can get free fight win, farm ultimates, burn time, all that kind of good stuff there as well. So that's stuff I really like to see. Be a little bit more of a greater mindset in terms of forcing out Tracer, playing high guns a little bit more on second and third point defense, and some micro here as well. Linking onto the mindset about forcing out Tracer, warding off the Tracer in the corridor on first points, warding off Doomfist again first point here as well, marking and matching Tracer on third point defense here with the Cassidy instead of leaving her be and leaving your Cassidy to take a duel. That kind of stuff there is really important, and of course some general hazard stuff here in terms of again triggers are fairly basic, not slashing, not going onto Juno when you haven't got slash, that kind of thing here, as well as again not matching Weaver when he's got tree and looking to try and hard engage onto him, when in actuality soft engaging there was fine, forcing out tree, but I could have gone high grounds. So those are the key three things. Anything else or any questions or queries?
All good.
All good. Cool. All right.